Welcome to Crossroads Callings. I am your host, Chimere Brown, and this is the podcast where we explore those pivotal moments that shift a person's path and reveals their true purpose and calling. Today, we're talking about turning pain into purpose, and specifically how movement can be a powerful tool for mental wellness. Our guest is Tonyael Miller, a certified personal trainer, author, future wife, mother, and motivational speaker who has an immense passion about empowering women and mothers to reclaim their health and well-being. Welcome to the show, Tonyael.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you because even though I am not a mother, you have a story of just resilience and taking authority over your mental health through managing your physical health. And I think in today's age, when so many people are going through like layoffs and different life transitions, the both mental and physical person get neglected. So what I'm hoping is that the listeners learn a lot from you and maybe some how-tos and maybe even plug into your mentally fit community at the end of this.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Super excited to drop some gems, let you all know my story and just how I involved on this whole journey of not just being fit physically, but mentally fit, and how I actually came about the name of my program too. So,
Yeah, we're gonna deep dive into it. A couple more things about Tonyael. She was featured in Women's Health magazine. And as we stated, she is the founder of the Mentally Fit community, which I hope you all leave subscribed and connected to that community. But that is where she provides daily motivation, fitness tips, and a supportive space for moms to connect and thrive. Crossroads Callings starts now. Okay, Tanya, we're just going to jump right into it. I want to really get into your origin story because you present so strong. You are in great physical condition. You're glowing.
thank you.
But where did this journey of both physical fitness and the alignment with mental wellness begin for you?
So my journey for me started back in 2012. I was actually diagnosed with postpartum depression right after I had my daughter. And us being women in the Black community, a lot of times we have to come off as strong. So
Yeah.
we don't want to lean on other people telling our story, our problems. And for me, mentally, I knew I just was not connected. I always had this image in my head when I get pregnant, like, oh, it's going to be white picket fences.
Yeah.
It's going to be so amazing. I'm going to have this baby running around the house. I think back then I wanted about 4 or 5 kids, and that didn't happen.
Do you still want 4 or 5 kids?
No, not at all. I'm good with the one. But yeah, so I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, and I am actually the oldest of 6.
Mhm.
So I knew it was something wrong. I am very, very, very close with my sisters. So my sister, she's actually 1 year younger than me, and she actually had 2 children at the time. So I was just telling her, like, I don't feel happy during this pregnancy. I don't feel myself. I feel like something is wrong. And she was the one who actually encouraged me to actually see a therapist and talk to them about what was going on as far as my mental health. Fitness didn't come into play at this time.
Mhm.
It was purely I wanted to figure out what was going on mentally with me.
Yeah.
So I did wind up going to a therapist, and my therapist was the one that actually suggested me to get into fitness as a form of holistic therapy because I was against medication.
Yeah.
I kind of always been against medication, so I knew that I didn't want anything not only to affect me in a negative way, but also my child, because at this time I was in my 2nd trimester, and just thinking about the effects that the drugs could have on my daughter. So my therapist has suggested that I get into fitness, and it was funny because back in high school, I just remember like all the times where I would get like a doctor's note, and basically like I couldn't do the mile run. We have to do like that test every year. So I had asthma, so I literally would have my mom go and give me a letter every year, like, you know what time it is.
Yeah.
I can't do this run, so we need to go to the doctor and get the excuse. So my therapist, she was not a mom,
Mhm.
and she was not a woman of color. So I was kind of like, okay, this is a joke. This lady is not going to be able to help me. But I went into it with the open mind, and I was glad that I did because it literally like changed my life. So she was the one who actually suggested that I get into running. And I'm
Mm.
just like, lady, I don't run. Like, this is not going to work. But she was like, running could really help you, as far as getting your adrenaline up, your
Mm.
endorphins. So I'm like, okay, let me just try it. I started dabbling into fitness while I was pregnant, but I didn't really get serious until after I had my baby. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you know what? I want to do something. I want to get in the best shape of my life. I want to feel better. And I had started to actually feel better, just, going to the gym, doing a few
Mm-hmm.
things, but I've always been one that likes a challenge. So I'm
Yeah.
like, let me try to do something. I just had a baby. Let me try to do something to get my mom body back to where it used to be.
Right.
So I hired a trainer, and I actually accomplished my first thing, which was the Soldier Field 10 mile. And I had decided that I wanted to do that in less than 2 hours.
Mm.
I did it. I did it in like an hour and 58 minutes or something like that. And I mean, like, not only did I look amazing, but I just felt amazing. I didn't even feel like myself anymore. And from that point, I'm just like, I want everybody to feel like this.
I do want to take a step back really quickly because there's a stigma that postpartum depression is like the baby blues and it's just sadness.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us like how you were diagnosed and some of those key symptoms that people that may be expecting mothers or maybe are feeling sadness but don't really know what else to look for? How does like postpartum show up?
So it can show up a bunch of different ways. For me, it wasn't even just sadness. It was just like me not feeling like myself. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to go anywhere. I slept all day long. Like literally, I went to work and that was it. And even like, thank God, I'm surprised that I didn't lose my job. I had a very supportive community at work, so they
Mm-hmm.
understood, me, what I was going through. I remember a time where I went to work and literally I slept 3 hours on my lunch break. And we had like a room called a serenity room. So they would let me just go in there, put my feet up. And I was just so tired, like emotionally and physically, that they're
Mm-hmm.
like, you know what? You'll be okay. So I'm glad that I had that community for me. But postpartum can be a lot of things. And for me, I thought it would have been something that would have went away.
Yeah.
Like right after, like, okay, you go through postpartum, you have the baby, you cure, you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that actually lingered around, I would say, until my baby turned 3, maybe 4.
You talk about your sister kind of helping you because she was a mother first. You had
Mm-hmm.
two. But who else? Else did you build like community to help you with your baby? Because babies still need,
Yeah.
even though you as a mother weren't feeling 100% yourself. You still have to be attentive, and you still have to. They still need to eat and all of the things. Who was able to support you beyond just telling you that maybe you should get some help?
My family. So
Yeah.
I'm very big and very family oriented. So my family definitely did a lot for me. Not just my sister, my grandparents were very instrumental in helping me raise Janelle. Even her dad's side of the family was actually very supportive, even
Mm-hmm.
though we were not physically seeing eye to eye at the time. But I mean, we both come from very family oriented backgrounds. So everybody actually had a hand into helping me with Janelle. So
Mm-hmm.
just that I didn't feel isolated or I didn't have time. So anytime that I wanted time to myself, and it really wouldn't be a lot of time because I actually felt guilty about
Yeah.
having time to myself. But we'll go into that too because I tell people all the time, mom guilt is something that's really
Yeah, we
real
could
too.
talk about that now because you did it. Your diagnosis was identified, and then your therapist from there said maybe you should start running.
Mm-hmm.
But from there, you did a 2 mile run with at
10,
10,
10.
10 I'm sorry, 10 mile run. I apologize. Let me not. I am not
No, I'm
shading
just
that
playing with you,
accomplishment.
man.
You have to train. That takes time from your child, and then you have to go through the running the 10 miles yourself, and then that's 2 hours. So you can kind of clock the time that you've been away from your child. How did you balance that mom guilt and still give that time to yourself because you needed that time?
So one thing that I had to learn and that I actually teach my clients is that I know it's cliche, but the saying that you can't pour from an empty cup, or
Yeah.
even like the same thing when you get on a plane, they always tell you have to put your mask on first before you can save anybody else. I knew that fitness was my saving grace, and in order for me to basically be the woman that at that time I had no idea would turn into this whole movement, but in order for me to be a good role model and a good mom for Janelle, I had to show up for myself first.
Yeah.
So actually pouring into myself, taking this time to go to the gym, meal prepping, working out, all of these things were actually showing my daughter what she needed to be in order to be not just a good person, but a productive member of society. And I think it's so important too, because a lot of times we feel like when we're on a fitness journey that we have to isolate our friends and our family, and it's just us. But I actually wind up incorporating Janelle in a lot of things that I did. So even like my gym schedule, like I would go when it was kids club time.
Oh,
So
okay.
therefore I didn't feel like that I was necessarily neglecting her, because we were at the gym together, but not at the gym together. So like I still had time where I could focus on my workout. She was being taken care of. Somebody can actually watch her, and I would be able to go in and out of there just to check on her to make sure she was okay. And the thing, shout out to LA Fitness. I think a couple of other gyms may have this as well, but I know with LA Fitness you can get up to 2 hours.
Oh, of childcare?
Yes.
And as long as you're working out.
As long as you're working out and you're physically there, they would watch your kid for up to 2 hours. And I think it was just like an extra $10 a month.
Oh,
So
wow.
I definitely took advantage of that because I felt like it was something that was feasible, something that I can afford. And also, again, I didn't have to look for a babysitter because the babysitter was already there. I just had to pay the $10 a month. And another thing that actually helped me out too is a lot of people don't understand this, but a lot of jobs actually reimburse you for that. So I mean, technically it was free childcare for 2 hours.
So you can pour back into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When did you notice the connection between the mental wellness and then your body changing at the same time?
So I noticed it kind of right away, especially before. Before, I felt like I was never really mentally connected to what I did. And then as I started to do more research, I feel like everything just kind of connected, as far as like me going to therapy, me doing affirmations, me pouring into myself. And I felt like that when I didn't have that mind body connection, everything wasn't the same. So, for instance, even I teach my clients this today. When you don't pour into yourself mentally, you're not going to be able to go to the gym. You're not going to be able to meal prep. You're not going to be able to do any of these things if your mind is not in the right place. And I have to tell myself that even like on a consistent basis, even now, especially, with seasonal depression. That's a thing. That's something that I've experienced. So I know that even when it comes to it getting dark outside earlier, I'm getting into that slump where I want to sleep longer. But I literally have to, again, tell myself every day on a daily basis, you got to do this. And I always feel better after I do it. But just making that, like, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Why do you continue to do this? Because it's got to be bigger than just losing weight or getting back to yourself. So even I tell my clients now, it's not even going back to the old version of yourself. It's going to the 2.0 version of yourself, which is why I renamed my program to Mentally Fit 2.0, because we're not going back to the old self. We're chasing a new elevated version of yourself.
Yeah. Before we get into that, what was your next milestone after the 10-mile run? Was that when you began your Mentally Fit community? Was that immediately after?
No, not immediately after. So after that, my next accomplishment, well, yeah, it was community building after that time, because when I think back to it, I've always been big into connecting people and connecting things. So I started to build a community online. I started doing 21-day challenges, 21 days for $21. I was also doing like events. This was before I had moved to Atlanta. So I was living in Forest Park. So I would partner with like different gyms and different trainers and partner with them and do events. I remember an event that I did at this gym called Be Fit in Oak Park. And that was probably my first big event. And I just brought people together just to show them the connection between fitness and your mindset. And it's funny that now that I think about it, because that was back like, probably when Janelle was 3 or 4.
And she's
13.
Like over 10 years ago. I guess what I want to understand is like the steps between you taking care of yourself, completing a 10-mile run, and then now you're a notable personal trainer. How did you build those partnerships? Was that the only boost you needed? Was to, okay, I've completed this run. Now I'm going to start seeking out partnerships, and now I'm going to start doing events. Did that just happen organically for you?
Yes and no. So I feel like Atlanta was a game changer for me.
Okay, so you moved from Forest Park to
Atlanta.
Atlanta?
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the time, my daughter was 4, and literally I had nobody there. So I go from this big support system in Chicago where it's just me, my family, my friends. I have people to lean on and to help. And then I go to Atlanta when it's just me, my daughter, and a friend. But I feel like that really pushed me out of my comfort zone
Yeah.
to be more social. Because to me, I'm a very introverted person. Like, I'm just super laid back and observant. And it's funny because my child is the complete opposite. Like, she
That's
is
how it
this,
happens, though.
yes, she is the social queen. So, and I feel like that kind of helped me spark to be more social as well. Because you got a
Yeah.
kid that's social, you don't really talk. And then it's like you got to sit behind a kid that's going around socializing, connecting with everybody. So it
Hmm.
pushed me out of that comfort zone. When I went to Atlanta, again, I really wasn't even thinking about training. I just knew that I wanted to still continue to get into shape. So my next accomplishment was to actually do a fitness competition.
Hmm.
And this was something that I literally put off from the time that I moved to Atlanta until maybe 3 years ago. So I kept saying, I want to do it, but I was scared to do it. I want to do it, but I was scared to do it. And at that time, I again wind up investing in another trainer and just putting myself in these spaces with people that I looked up to. So
Hmm.
again, it was just a lot of learning and just opportunities start presenting themselves and coming my way. So what actually pushed me to actually be a coach is that I had a friend. His name is Harry. He's actually my business mentor. So he was asking me about training, and he was like, "Well, are you serious about training?" And I'm like, "I mean, I train a few people in my building." And he
Yeah.
was like, "No, like, are you serious?" So
Hmm.
I'm like, "What does that mean?" He was like, "If you get your certification, I can actually show you how to turn this around and make it a business online." And I'm like, "Okay, I already had like that community building. I was thinking about doing a competition." So I'm like, "You know what? Let me just go through the whole process of not only getting my certification, but literally like actually buckling down, turning out all the noise, and actually really taking my body to that next level." And a
Yeah.
competition is a whole nother beast from running.
Yeah, I bet.
That's just something completely different. And
Let's talk about how,
okay.
because I can run a little bit, but I'm not competition ready. And I know there's a lot of people out there they can run if somebody's chasing them,
Mm-hmm.
but that is also not competition ready, especially if people coming from a depressive state. So, what are the expectations that go into a competition that's not there for just general wellness?
Competition is definitely a mindset thing. And again, that gives me back that mind and body connection because it's literally one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life.
Hmm.
But it's like one of those things that after you do it, then you want more. You want to go back. You want to do it again. You want to be in the last version that you did. So during this time, it was really, really, really hard for me because it was something that I pushed off for years. And then I finally decided to do it. And then my grandmother passes away
Oh,
in the
wow.
midst of the competition. So mentally, I'm talking myself out of it. Like, oh, you got to
Because
quit.
you're grieving.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, you can't do this. You can't focus. You got to plan a funeral. You got to do all of these things. But that goes back to that community. My family wouldn't let me quit. This
Mm.
was at the time when me and my fiance finally started dating. And he was super, super, super supportive. He wouldn't let me quit. And I mentally had to put myself in a place when my grandmother wanted me to quit. She believed in me more than anybody. She invested in me with every last dollar that she had. So I'm like,
Yeah.
not only do I have to show up for me, I had to show up for Janelle, but I feel like I had to show up for my grandmother because this was like my biggest cheerleader. So I feel like that was the thing that actually pushed me because again, mentally, I'm talking myself out of it.
Hmm.
But then again, mentally, I have to talk myself into
Into
it
it.
every day. And I'm glad that I did it. I wound up winning second place. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
How
you.
did you get you talk about community, but there are times when people can hype us up like you can do it. But again, the responsibility lies with yourself. How did you combat that negative thinking to keep moving forward at that time?
So it's a couple things that I actually do and I still practice to this day. One of them is affirmations. So again, daily. I mean, mentally, again, your mind is the biggest muscle in your body. So it's something that you have to work on a daily basis. So again, just getting up and telling myself some affirmations, even when I try to talk myself out of things like, okay, you Tonyael, you Coach T, you got this, you can do it.
Yeah.
So just being able to do that. And then also a couple other things that I like. I've tried things like yoga, It's not really my thing, but it's one thing, a technique that I love, which is called grounding. I have
Mm.
a sister that's a therapist, and we actually practice this in my program, but we pretty much ground with the five senses. So again, a lot of times people like me, busy, on the go, career women, we don't have time to be sitting in a yoga pose for an hour,
Right.
just sitting there, because we always thinking about all of these other things that we have to do. So
Yeah.
what I like to do is just take 5 minutes to ground. And that's something that I tell my
What does that
clients.
mean? Is it just 5 minutes of meditation? Is it 5 minutes of silence? Are you chanting something to yourself?
So it's basically like a mind and body connection type of technique. So you are being silent, but you are actually taking that time and you're going over each sense. So again, you're taking a moment, you're breathing in deep, and then you're connecting what you're hearing to your mental mindset, what you're smelling, what you're feeling, what you're touching, what you're tasting. Sometimes it may not be anything at all, and it may
Mm.
not bring up anything, but a lot of times when you actually think about it, there is a connection. For instance, I haven't eaten anything today. So
Yeah.
if I sit there and I'm tasting my mouth and it tastes like coffee from this morning, that's a cue to go eat. Or the same thing, if I don't hear anything, but I hear my stomach growling, then
Mm-hmm.
again, that's a mental cue to tell myself that I am hungry. So when you take that and you ground and you actually pay attention, you connect those senses, then again, it just gives you that feeling of being able to mentally connect your body to what you're doing.
It sounds like you're being present.
hmm And a lot of times
Yeah.
we aren't. And it's not just, even though I specialize more with moms and caregivers, us women in general, we're always on the go. We're always doing something. We're
Yeah.
always connect. What's the next thing? Well, even
Mm-hmm.
like for me, when I'm going over what I accomplished in 2025, I'm all the way on to 2027 getting married. So again, just being present and actually connecting, like, okay, I did this, I went through this, this is happening. Like actually just celebrating your small wins
Yeah.
instead of just rushing to the next thing. Even when it comes to our fitness journey, a lot of times you go from 0 to 20 pounds, but you don't celebrate those small wins in between.
Yeah. I think people are really consumed with the destination. You just want to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those incremental steps that are necessary, but they're painful.
Yep.
So how do you celebrate yourself along the way before, say, you completed the competition and then you won second place? Like, that's huge, especially for your first time out. How did you take those moments to celebrate yourself along the way?
So I feel like celebrating myself is something that I recently started doing because
Yeah.
I'm a very goal driven person as well. And I really did not realize that I wasn't celebrating myself. So again, I think this is why I really love my community and my program. Like I said, I am very family oriented. So my family actually helps me run my program. So I am the fitness trainer, but also I have a sister that's a licensed clinical social worker.
Mhm.
So she is the actual like mental aspect of the program, and then I have another sister, the one who had a baby under me. She's the accountability coach. So again, we give you like this all encompass program, but actually show you like how to actually take a moment and celebrate those wins and do those things. And my sister, that's the therapist, was the one that pointed out to me, like, you got to take a second before
Yeah.
you jump into the next thing. Like, take a second and celebrate these major accomplishments. Like when I sit back and I think about certain things, even like me getting engaged, I went from getting engaged to planning a marriage, but not even taking the time to actually celebrate. We got engaged. I've actually been with somebody that's amazing that I can connect with, that
Yeah.
I can actually see a future with, and not even celebrate none of the small stuff in between, but just jumping straight to the next major milestone. So,
Yeah, you almost have to slow yourself down a little bit.
mm-hmm.
I do want to talk about that community because we have spoke at a high level. Tell us what the Mentally Fit 2.0 community is. Um, and I think you spoke about how your family is a part of that community and providing people with, it sounds like a holistic plan, but explain what it is. When did you start it? And like kind of give us that timeline, and how do we plug into the mentally fit community?
Okay, perfect. So one thing that I like to share is that My program is a lot different. It used to be called Mentally Fit, but I changed it to Mentally Fit 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the difference between my program and most other programs is that actually we follow a method that's called the Reclaim method, and it's called the 40-40-20 method. So a lot of times when people work with trainers or coaches, they tell you like, oh, it's 80% fitness. I mean, 80% nutrition and 20% fitness. But
Mm-hmm.
we basically kind of changed that around. So we actually have a structured program, but it's called the 40-40-20 method. So it's 40% mindset, 40% nutrition, and 20% fitness. So again, we have a program that has multiple coaches on the program to pretty much help you with every aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So we start by basically focusing on your mental health, and that's where Jazz comes in. As far as not only are you getting like an individual therapy session, but also group therapy, because we do have bi-weekly meetings with our clients. Also, you get a personalized nutrition plan, and then you also get a personal fitness plan. So not only do we give you everything, but we also show you how to use it and
Yeah.
basically how to make it, work for your everyday life. A lot of times people don't really know where to start or how to like plug these things in. So this is what we teach them. So even like I do, simple things where it may not be simple if you're on the outside looking in, but I basically teach them like I want to be the last coach or trainer that you ever work with. I want to teach you how to use these things in your everyday life, whether that's tweaking a meal plan that I gave them, whether it's actually showing how to fit these things into your everyday schedule. Because these are things that I had to do. Like again, if you're a mom, you're single,
Yeah.
maybe you have one or two kids. I mean, one is enough. But
Yes.
then you add multiple kids, multiple jobs. Like a lot of people are like, I don't have the time to do this. I
Yeah.
basically help them find the time because you do have the time. You just don't know that you do, whether that's waking up 30 minutes earlier,
Mm-hmm.
going to bed an hour later,
Yeah.
doing something on your lunch break. I mean, you can literally do my program pretty much anywhere. And a community aspect I love is because, again, we have not only the private community as far as my clients, but a Facebook community too. So just to keep people motivated and, feeling like you're not doing this alone, which I
Yeah.
think that's the part that people enjoy the most versus the actual working out on a meal plan, just
Mm-hmm.
by having other people they can relate to.
Yeah. When did you learn that this is what you were called to do?
I feel like every time I've tried to turn away from it, God has shown me this is what I'm supposed to do. And again,
In what way? Let's talk about that.
multiple ways. So every time I feel like I want to quit, I want to quit, or this is too hard, or I want to do something else, it always goes back to me doing this. So, perfect example, when I wanted to quit the first time, Harry came into my life, and I feel like things just kind of took off from
Harry
there.
is the trainer,
My business
your
coach,
business coach.
yeah,
Yeah.
and mentor, but he was a trainer too. So he
Yeah.
showed me how to actually make it a profitable fitness online business
Mm-hmm.
without getting burnt out. So,
Yeah.
because I still work a corporate job too.
I was gonna ask you that. So you're doing this in addition to.
Yeah, so basically two full-time jobs.
Yeah, and then
So
you're
yeah.
and then your mother. So that's 3 full-time jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But you still wanted to do what you were called to do because you said God wouldn't let you quit. So every time you think you're gonna quit, there's someone that shows up.
Someone
So
or something,
oh,
because even like another opportunity with the Women's Health magazine,
yeah,
like I had applied for that 2 years in a row. Then again, when I get ready to quit, okay, here
here
you
it
go.
is.
Same thing with the competition. You want to quit, I'm gonna make you do it. And
Yeah.
again, and I feel like, another thing too that shows me this is what I'm supposed to do. Every time that I feel like I want to, and I'm not gonna even say quit anymore, because now I just feel like it still is centered around health and fitness. So sometimes it's even just pivot
Mm.
a different direction, but I'm still doing the same thing. But I'll get like a random message from an old client or a new client, or just, lately or recently, I had a client when I was again thinking like, okay, I need to do something else.
Yeah.
She was one of my old clients, and she came back into the program, and her whole mindset now is mentally fit. So when she was first in the program, she was just dealing with like a divorce and like all these things that was just like cluttering what she had going on. But her mindset now is literally what my program is. So this time she didn't even come into the program with a weight loss goal. It was
Mm.
just basically to get structure, to
Yeah.
get clarity, and to basically go to her next level self. And again, even though it's a fitness program, this program can literally help you change and transform in every way possible. And that was one of the things that I feel like has happened for me. Not only, did I look good physically, but
Mm-hmm.
mentally I was a different person. As far as my business, I was a different person. I feel like Coach T was born out of this whole movement.
Yeah, I have here in your notes how you turn pain into purpose because postpartum depression is a very painful season.
Mm-hmm.
And even you spoke about your therapist not looking like you. You're like, I'm asthmatic. Why am I running?
Right.
And but for you to still heed her advice and it sent you on this journey and the path that you are on today. Tell me about how you're giving back because I have two things. You help not only mothers but caregivers. Why specifically is that has that become your target audience?
I feel like I relate the most to moms and caregivers. I mean, I relate to women in general, but
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of got a soft spot when it comes to moms and caregivers because I was a single mom. So
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's like basically putting yourself on the back burner for other people. And I get so many people. I think that's why I expanded it to caregivers as well because I have other women in my program that's not moms, but they're taking care of parents, siblings, pets. So a lot of times I feel like we find reasons, and I won't even say it's excuses because a lot of times the reasons are valid.
Valid, yeah.
Yes, but we find reasons, whether it could be I've had somebody say like I couldn't do this because my dog was sick, and again, like that is a valid reason.
Yeah, because dogs are family for a lot of people, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, just having to reiterate and let them know like you cannot pour from an empty cup. A lot of times, and even I'll go back to something recently that happened with one of my sisters. She was actually diagnosed with a health problem, but again, a lot of times we let it be a health scare, which is the reason that causes us to start our fitness journey, and we don't want
Hmm.
to end up in that predicament where we don't have a choice.
Yeah. Because now you're forced to do
You're
something
forced to
different.
do it, and even though she has a different perspective, she has lost weight, she has that mental clarity now,
Yeah.
but it's just like, okay, I had to have something traumatic happen in order for me to be able to see that my health is a priority, because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, the kid's gonna be there, the
Yeah.
job is gonna be there, that man most likely is
Gonna
gonna
be
be there.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we are not taking care of ourselves to take care of everybody else unless something happens.
And it's sad. It's an unfortunate truth. And sometimes you gotta refrain it because like you said, most mothers, caregivers, you're so heads down
Hmm.
that you need a glaring alarm to say, hey, look at this. Hey, take care of yourself. So it's unfortunate, but it's just sometimes you just need that extra like push. How do you build confidence? Because there's a lot of people. I did a cruise. This is a random story. I did a cruise, and I didn't realize there was an obesity epidemic until I went on a cruise. I was like, there is a lot of unhealthy people in the U.S. and it blew my mind because in my circle we all single women, so we trying to look a certain
Hmm.
way and show up a certain way. But I realized that confidence is part of it because people make fun of heavyset people online that are working out, and then there's people like me saying at least they showed up.
Hmm.
But that's a confidence killer. It produces a lot of shame. So how do you help people get under those stigmas?
Again, I think that comes back to the affirmations. So,
Yeah.
and I don't think I was always the most confident person until I feel like I put myself out there. I do things that I feel like may not be the most comfortable, but I feel like I've always been an underdog. So I always have to show people
Yeah.
like I'm Coach C, and I feel like again I have to believe every day that I'm Coach C. And
Mhm.
once you start actually like showing up, like, oh, I'm that girl, then I think it just naturally begins to come because you're literally putting yourself out there to be that person. So I feel like you have to show up as that person. And
Mhm.
then another thing for me, I think that really helps me with my confidence too, is just like I said, my daughter, like she's just super like confident, like, oh, like I'm that girl.
Yeah, she
So
showed up in the world like
yes,
like she's this
yes,
girl, she's that
yes.
girl.
So I just feel like again, you have to do the work. And sometimes the work is not easy, it's hard. But again, I think a lot of times, number one, and this is what I ask people even when they come into my program, what are your why? Like I literally have them, like we have a whole process where we actually go through like, affirmations and everything. And they have to let me know like literally like 5 whys. So what are 5 reasons why you're doing this? And I don't want the most basic, like to lose weight, to get
Yeah.
into shape, to do this, to do that. Like dig deeper. What is it? Is it to break generational curses? Is it to show up as a better person for your kids? Like, what is the reason behind why you're actually getting fit? Because when you figure out what your why is, then I feel like it's easier for you to stick to it versus I want to lose 20 pounds for this class reunion. And then the class reunion comes and goes. You lose 15 pounds and then you gain an extra 20 back.
Yeah.
So if you are always connected to what's your why, not only would it help you on your journey, but it'll also, again, continuously show like who you are, why you're so confident, why you're doing all these things, and stay connected to the person that you always meant to be and show up as.
Yeah, I want to talk about how you balance it all, because usually people that find themselves in their purpose and calling you have to choose. There's a lot of people that just have to choose. But you're doing this, I call you a yes and. Yes, I'm a mother and I'm operating in my purpose of fitness and I still work in corporate. How are you managing all of the things? And what advice do you have for people that say, I want to live in my purpose and calling, but I'm a parent and I need to keep this constant money coming. How do you master the two?
So I think that that's something that I'm still working through, but I
Yeah.
think this is why your community is so important and to always surround yourself with people who pour into you. So also that's how I try to show up for my clients and my friends and just anybody that's in my circle as well. Because a lot of times too, I do get the whole, like even, okay, for me, a major transition was moving back to Chicago. I feel like in Atlanta, this was just the land of you can be anything.
Yeah.
And
What caused you to move back?
well, my daughter wasn't doing the best in school, and then I had a relationship that I felt like was going in the right direction that I felt like would lead to marriage, and it actually is. So I
Yeah.
wasn't like afraid. I didn't feel like I had to do this alone. Again, my daughter was always coming back anyways for breaks. So one thing that I felt like was good for me is that I at least did have some relief. Everybody doesn't have that luxury where they may have, like a co-parenting situation where they can go and stay, where the kid can go and live with the other parent. For me and my daughter are pretty much like besties.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me to let her come to Chicago and I stay in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But I knew again that I had to do what I needed to do for Janelle. And I know it was the right decision. I'm not gonna say I know it was because as soon as she moved back, these are her teenage years, which are the most important. And I felt like as soon as she moved back, she started thriving again in school. And again, just being the social butterfly that she is, I think that was part of the issue too. I want to be friends with everybody. I want to do this. So she's coming into herself as a woman. And I was trying to navigate that alone by myself in Georgia. So I had more of a support system here. But then I started going through my things. Did I make the right decision for leaving?
Yeah, because your community was there.
It was.
And you had a successful business.
Yes.
And now you're thriving and you found your lane, and then you picked up that lane in the map and then you moved to back here.
Yeah.
How did you keep that going?
So one good thing for me is that a lot of things that I do are virtual, and I always still kept my Chicago connections.
Yeah.
So I still do travel for work. Mostly what I do is in Atlanta, so I do go back and forth. I do have the opportunity to go back there quarterly for personal work, but also for my business too. So I usually just go back and network. Or again, if it's just an opportunity that I feel like is something that I don't want to miss, I'm going back. Atlanta is a hop, skip, and a jump away. So
and you can get a direct flight.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then, I mean, a direct flight is what, an hour and a half?
Yeah.
So even if I wanted to go there and come back the same day, I could. But I feel like that if I didn't have that support system here, I wouldn't be able to go back and do that there. So what I'm doing now is just basically, I mean, I feel like if I could make those type of connections and do that in Atlanta, what's stopping me from doing that in Chicago, in Florida?
Yeah.
Worldwide, pretty much. So that's one thing that I do love, that my program was always a virtual program, and that I can do this anywhere, and I can spread my message, and I can, go to different states and speak and talk and do these
Yeah.
different things. So
When you say virtual, what virtual aspects did you guys use? So do you have an app, or do you
yes,
have like Zoom calls and stuff as well?
we got it all. So
All
pretty
the
much,
things.
yes, all the
Okay. So
things.
there's
So
no excuse. And turn your camera on because we can see
no
you.
excuse. So
Yeah.
with the program, you do have access to an app. You do get your meal plan through the app. You get your fitness program through the app, and then we have virtual meetings via Zoom bi-weekly as a group,
Mm-hmm.
and then you also have individual Zoom meetings with each coach as well.
Yeah. You have eliminated and thought of every excuse.
Because I had these excuses. I did.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's honest. It's like you thought about your own journey and then you found ways to circumvent every excuse.
Mm-hmm.
So that said person who wants to sign up, you don't have any. We've removed it all. So all you have to do now at this point is show up.
Show up, and not just show up. The thing, again, I'm very selective in the people that I train. I'm not going to train everybody.
No, talk about that.
Yeah.
Because some people, I've learned along the way that all money isn't good money.
Mm-hmm.
What are some lessons that you've learned or that you've seen that says this person isn't serious? Or
I feel like that the person has to be vulnerable. If I'm being vulnerable with you, and it took me a long time to be vulnerable because, again, like we talked about earlier, we feel like we have to show up as a strong Black woman all the time.
yeah.
So, again, if you're coming to me because you've exhausted every resort and you cannot do this on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, if you coming to me and you thinking you got all the answers and, oh, I know what to do and this, and that, then you go ahead and you do it. But when you're ready to be vulnerable and be open and literally like really have a conversation on what are the mental roadblocks that's stopping you from getting to your next level self, then again, that's when the magic happens. That's when I can help you. That's when I can fix things. And I even tell my clients now, like, you're literally investing in yourself. And if you're making that investment, I literally want you to use me in every aspect. So again, I will have clients that will call me like, I don't feel like following a meal plan today. I want Starbucks. Okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's figure out, because I don't want you to think that you have to eat chicken and ground turkey every day.
Or a life of elimination, because that
Yes.
makes it really hard to stick to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So again, just basically being vulnerable and being open with me. I had another client, I gave her a meal plan and she was like, I'm just gonna be honest. I can't afford that meal plan right now. I can't afford to eat healthy. So what I did was literally, she told me what her new budget was. I made her a new meal plan based off her new budget. But again, if she didn't feel comfortable with me as a coach to come and tell me these things, I wouldn't be able to help her.
Yeah, I feel like vulnerability is the foundation of your journey anyway. Because if you didn't say from the very beginning in 2012 that I need help or I'm not feeling right, something is off, you wouldn't even be on this path to begin with. You would probably still be stuck.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I want people to get anything from your journey, vulnerability is like the first and foremost. You spoke a lot about your community. And then the last thing that I'm hearing is that you help people and yourself eliminate excuses. What other aspects of your journey do you want people to kind of learn from?
Just again, I feel like a lot of times we stand in our own way.
Yeah.
So just building that community, also just having that confidence and just being able to make that mental connection are my main things that I feel like is the recipe for success for me. And like I said, that's something that I'm actually like still in the process of working on, because every day is another chance to get better than what you were. So again, just telling myself, even perfect example, just coming back to Chicago and making connections, just reaching out to different people that I know may be doing stuff. Like every opportunity may not be a yes. And I had to literally tell myself this when we were in a hurricane. So I had recently just came back from Jamaica.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. So Tonyael and her fiance went to Jamaica for leisure.
Yes.
And Hurricane Melissa hit. And you were stuck for how long?
11 days.
Stuck in 11 days. So here you are, loving life, figuring out, because you just moved from Atlanta, maybe a year ago?
Yep, literally a year ago.
You moved from Atlanta a year ago. You just got engaged. You were like, okay, we're figuring out life is so great. And a real life hurricane tore your life up.
It did. It did, but it didn't.
Okay. And so, let's talk about it.
At first, again, not making that mental connection, you would think like, oh, my life is in shambles, a hurricane happening, all of these things.
Yeah.
So one thing that I did, I love ChatGPT. And shout out to my sister for actually putting me onto this, because my sisters used to keep telling me all these stories about how they talk to ChatGPT, and I'm like, y'all crazy. Like, why are
I ain't
y'all
gonna
talking to
lie. I
ChatGPT?
talk to ChatGPT like a therapist, like,
Yes,
and to get advice, talk to me like a homegirl.
yes.
It's creepy, and a lot of sanctified people say it's demonic, but sometimes you don't always want to call somebody to tell them.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
that's the thing that I love, is that ChatGPT literally put me back in that mental mind state while I was there, and just basically let me see the beauty of the storm.
What was the command you used?
So I literally was just telling ChatGPT, like, I'm scared, I'm hearing a hurricane, just about the opportunities that I'm missing by being there.
Yeah.
And it was just letting me know that basically God put me there. He's showing me that basically He has control even in the eye of the storm. And that even though I don't see a way, He's always making a way. So basically, just to be present, know that things are still going to work out. And when I say I let that peace literally like come over me again, the flesh
Wow.
wants you to be nervous.
Yes.
But just letting that peace come over me. I mean, even when I came back, I had 3 opportunities for 2026 lined up, as far as for me to be able to do like a travel collaboration and a couple other things. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
big
like He is
things.
lining it up. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Wow. I mean, ChatGPT just preached to you.
yeah, it did. And I was actually, yeah, so that was one conversation that I had with my sisters when I got back. Like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And then again, like I said, just seeing the beauty of it, I feel like I was a lot more calmer than what I would normally be. So again, even that fitness connection mentally helped me again, because I was still doing things to keep myself active. Of course, I wasn't thinking about having a full blown workout, but
Yeah.
just I was still walking. I was
Yeah.
still, able to connect mentally with what was going on, being present, even when sometimes people weren't treating me as nice as they probably could have. But
Yeah.
just knowing like I'm going back home.
And the thing about it is, even though the storm came, it's still Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
It's still paradise. She's, probably a little bit in shambles, probably not the Jamaica that you wanted to be in, but it's it's still paradise. It's still the beach.
Yeah.
The sun did come out later,
But you relate that back to life too.
Yeah, no,
So
yeah.
yeah.
So let's talk about it.
Yeah. So even like mentally, I feel like that my postpartum was probably the hardest thing that I've ever been through in my whole entire life. But I always say, when things happen and when they don't go my way, like if God brought me through that, He could bring me through anything. And even mentally, like I faced anxiety. I actually went through a series of burnout. So I still have things that come and that, stops me. But mentally, I just tell myself, like, if you went through postpartum, girl, you could do anything.
Yeah.
And then now I went through this hurricane. Oh,
Yeah, you said you can't tell
I'm
me
unstoppable
nothing.
at this point.
How did your partner show up for you when you were in that hurricane? And how has he been showing up for you? Because when did he enter your life?
So he is amazing. And he entered my life actually at a time that I didn't know that I would need him the most. So we actually met in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So, and didn't know anything, never seen each other, anything like that. So I remember I had went out to a club for Thanksgiving just to, like go outside. One of my friends, she was there. So she was like, meet me at this club. And I'm like, okay. And when I got there, I had seen my neighbor there. And him and my neighbor, they're best friends. So I never seen him. So I gave my neighbor, a hug, like, oh, hey, what's up? And he was just sitting there smiling. And I'm like, hello. Like, do I know you?
He's like, stop being weird.
Yeah, I'm like, do I know you? And then he was like, you don't know me, but I know you. So he was, like, oh, you from Maywood, da da da. I'm like, okay, how do he know me?
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, well, he seemed cool. And I mean, from that moment forward, we literally talked the whole entire night. He wouldn't even let me go to the bathroom by myself. Like, we talked that whole entire night. And I feel like he has been showing up since day one. Like, everything that we have talked about,
Mm-hmm.
like, he has just always came through, never let me down, never, not being a good person. Even like people that I know, you always kind of wait for the best. So I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
for that other shoe to drop
yeah.
almost.
I'm like, when I get home, then I'm gonna find out the real him, and they'll tell me. But even like people that know him or that didn't know that I knew that knew him,
Yeah.
like we know a lot of people mutually, but I've never heard like not one bad thing, not issues. Nobody has ever called my phone, text me, or anything like that. And I think the moment that I knew he was the one is that he showed up for me when my grandmother passed away.
Right.
So
And not only did your grandmother pass away, that was the same time you were getting ready to do your competition too.
yes, and he was so supportive. Like when I came home, he was still actually like going to buy me my prep food, still making sure I could get to the gym. Because again, I'm coming home, so I don't have a car.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like, oh, you can use my car. Oh, let me take you to the gym. Oh, let me make sure that you still eat your food. And then like I was stressed out about planning everything for my grandmother. He was the one. He actually found a location for us to be able to have like the memorial service. So
Mm.
I just feel like everything just connected, and I just knew like, yeah, like I can actually see myself like with this person, and I feel
Yeah.
like they make me a better person. They support me, so
You're in
yeah.
a shining example of when God sends you someone that aligns with your purpose and your calling. Because not only did he show up for you, he did things to
Hmm.
kind of help you along the way. But if anything was going to tear you apart, it should have been 11 days after a hurricane.
It did.
And it should have shown a light on him as a true his true personality in the moment of discomfort because there was
Hmm.
food scarcity, there was no electricity. How did he show up in that time?
So in Jamaica, I was the crazy one, and he was. I
Really?
was.
And
I
I know you to
was.
be so calm.
No, I
Okay.
wasn't at this moment because again, this is just something that like I've never been through before, but he hasn't either. So we were having our moments. And again, now that I look back at it, I was having my moments because he was calm. Because during a hurricane, he was doing push ups, he was asleep, he was listening to music. I'm rocking
He
back and
say
forth.
easy
Yes.
work.
I'm rocking back and forth in a chair. And then I just bust out crying. He was like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "Because you're not showing up for me." And then he was like, "Well, what do you want me to do? Cry?" And I'm like, you know what? Okay, that makes sense. So again, he actually was very gentle with me and just basically explained like it's his job to be calm. And he actually has a job where, he's in situations that things happen and he has to be calm. So
Hmm.
I feel like once I understood that, I mean, it was pretty much okay after that. Like, again, I think the heightened situation of the moment of actually being in a hurricane, but again, just listening to him going through these things and us actually being able to actually go through this together. I
Yeah.
don't think like if either one of us was there alone, I think it would have been a different situation because I think I would have been nervous that he was there, or he would have been, nervous that I was there.
Yeah.
But the fact we were actually going through the storm literally together and just with, other family members made it more bearable than what it would have been if I was there by myself.
Yeah. What is the biggest lesson you've learned about healing and purpose, um, that it can coexist with love and expansion? Because you went through a healing journey, you found your purpose and your calling, but then you also found love,
Hmm.
and then you're also expanding your business. So, what have you learned about those two separate things, but yet interconnected things existing at the same time?
I feel like they all kind of play into each other. And at the end of the day, what's for you is for you.
Yeah.
And God literally will, like, even if you try to run from it, it'll be for you and it'll be there. So even for me, like, I just feel like that even in my relationship, like he is there for me to show up to be my best self and support me. Like he never, like puts me down. If it's something, even sometimes for me, he'll reel me back in. So I love that too. So like
Mm-hmm.
me, again, I want to conquer the world. I want to do everything. And he like, okay, well you could do this, this and that, but maybe you need to slow down on this or
No.
maybe pause on that. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like again, just having like that person for me that I can lean on and I can ask questions to, even though all the time that's may not be what I want to hear. I
Mm-hmm.
want him to be like, okay. But then when I think about it, it'll maybe take some days, maybe a week. And I'm like, you know what?
He right.
He was right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was right. I don't
Yeah.
need to do 18 things. I could just do 15.
You mentioned burnout. I'm glad you said doing multiple things. In those seasons, like what was the trigger and how did you get up out of it? out of burnout, and how are you managing it
Okay,
now?
so two things that I actually noticed. I noticed that I had high functioning depression,
Okay.
and I also noticed that I had burnout. And I was experiencing both of those at the same time. So burnout for me, what it looked like is that I would basically get like this really big high, and I wanted to do all these things, and then I just didn't enjoy it anymore.
Mm.
So what I learned how to manage that was basically again just kind of like mapping out what I want to do, giving more realistic timelines,
Yeah.
and also giving myself grace. I know I even say that today. Like I put all these notes in my phone of all these different things that I want to do, or I might write them down. Write the vision,
Make
make
it
it
plain.
plain. Yeah,
Yeah.
but sometimes again, the vision doesn't have to be done in 3 days.
Yeah.
It may take 3 months, and like that's okay. So just knowing how to give myself that grace when I do see burnout coming or different
Mm-hmm.
things may happen, and also knowing how to navigate that. I've dealt with burnout, high functioning depression, seasonal depression, postpartum depression,
Yeah.
anxiety. So a lot of different
And you still
things.
working out and still dealing with your. I think I want people to understand, just because you are actively working on your mental wellness and your physical, and those things are married together and they help make you a whole person, those things still come up.
They do.
It does not just miraculously go
Disappear.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they evolve as you evolve as a person. I think what I want people to understand is there'll always be something. I think what you've done with your Mentally Fit Community 2.0 is that when that something arises, you always have the tools, because you still actively use your own tools,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. So, and like, I think that you said it beautifully because the same thing. It's always going to be something, and I
Yeah.
feel like my dad actually prepared me for that. When you go back and you think about things as you get older, I feel like my dad prepared me for that when I was younger because he was like, he used to call me Tail. Don't ask me why, but he used to be like, Tail. It's always going to be something, whether it's church, whether
Mm,
it's work, whether it's school, whether it's your family. And I'm like, man, he is so right. Because it's just like, okay, when you deal with one thing, then something else happened.
yeah.
So what I started to learn was learning how to actually deal with these things as they come. And again, like I said, for me, I'm always going to have a million things to do.
Yeah.
That's just not going to change. And even if I take a break and I don't do a million things over the weekend, it's still going to be there Monday. So again, just mapping these things out where, okay, today I may not have gotten 5 things done, but I did 3.
Yeah.
What can I push off to the next day? What needs to be done right away? What's a non-negotiable? What can't wait? And I feel like I do the same thing when it comes to my fitness journey, when it comes to meal prepping, like all of these different things. What needs to be done today for a client? What needs to be done today for Tonyael? What needs to be done today for Tony, Janelle, my family, like whoever? What can wait? What can, what can I give somebody else to do?
Yeah.
So again, learning that you don't have to take everything on your own. A lot of things you can avoid and you will have to do. But again, just knowing how to navigate it. Even the same thing, knowing that I'm not in competition season now. I'm not in prep all year long. So I don't have to be at the gym for 2 hours every day.
Mm.
That's not realistic. But some days maybe 30 minutes and that's good. Some days maybe a rest day. Knowing that you don't have to take on everything every day. And even if you don't, it's going to be okay because you'll still find a way to navigate it and figure it out.
Yeah, you said that beautifully. My next question was to give an appointment piece of advice for a mother or caregiver struggling to find time or energy to prioritize their well-being. But pretty much what you were saying is do what you can as you can do it.
And just
Yeah.
not continue to put it off, but actually just having that support in that community or finding, that support and actually like having those real talk, those real life conversations and talks with yourself. Like, again, like I said, you don't want to wait until it's the last minute to prioritize your health. But it doesn't have to be. I think that's the beautiful part that I like about my program is just showing people you don't have to have an hour every day. You can literally change your life for 3 hours a week.
Really?
Yes.
I was told, is that 30 minutes a day?
Just about. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be like a full hardcore workout.
Yeah.
So you can literally do something every other day. I tell my clients to like prioritize water intake, their steps, making sure that they're getting their meals in. A lot of times people are overweight because they only eating one meal a day. So your body
Yeah.
is
You're
in
storing
starvation
it.
mode. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, just giving yourself that grace, telling yourself you do have time to eat.
Mm.
It's if you prepare your food in advance, you only
Girl, I
need
feel
5 or
like you
10 minutes.
yelling at me.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying because we gotta have somebody
Yeah.
that basically lays it all out for us to let us know that we actually can do it. We are capable of accomplishing any and everything that we put our mind to.
Yeah.
And it may not be right away. It didn't take you 30 days to lose 20 pounds or to gain 20 pounds. So don't realistically think that you'll lose this in 30 days.
Right.
And if you are, what are the steps that you're taking? Are you doing a quick fix? Like, again, you really have to have these conversations with yourself daily.
Yeah. No, that's setting realistic expectations. And I think a lot of people on their own journey just want things to happen fast. And I think you sharing your story really put some realistic timelines and steps in place. You don't just get up one day and run 10 miles.
Right.
That's something you train for. You just don't get up one day and do a fitness competition. That's something you train for. So setting realistic goals, setting realistic steps. I do want to give you an opportunity to pub the Mentally Fit 2.0 community. How can people connect with you if they want to be a part of this community? Maybe if they're in the Chicagoland area and they want to hire you as a trainer, what's the best way to just get started and plug in?
So the best way to get started is to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is my first name and my last initial. So that's Tonyael, Tonyalm. And all you have to do is send me a message, reclaim. And again, it's reclaim, RECLAIM. And then that'll be the first steps that you take in order to actually get more information about the program. What I do, and again, anybody that's listening, I offer a free 15-minute consultation.
Okay.
So again, we actually go over a lot of times, again, when people work with people virtually, I think that's the thing that I love about me too, is that they don't really ever talk to the person. So again, when you send me a message and you DM me that word, you're actually talking to me.
Yes, that's a good thing to know.
Yeah, so you are talking to me. And then again, we actually do set up a Zoom call.
Okay.
The first call is 15 minutes, but then we complete a 1-hour health assessment after that. And all of this is completely free just to see if we align and if I can actually help you. And then you can be a part of my community and I can give you any resources that I have from that point going forward.
Thank you so much, Tonyael, for visiting Crossroads Callings. She dropped so many gems. If something spoke to you, please leave that in the chat. You can reach out to us on YouTube, Instagram, all social media outlets, all podcasting platforms. Definitely send what you learned from this message. Tanya has a great story, and the hurricane part is crazy. But I'm glad she is here, she is safe, and she's still smiling, and she's still thriving. Lastly, I want to thank the National Public Housing Museum for allowing us to use their incredible facility. They have been a great partner since our inception, and they continue to do so. So if you're ever in the Chicagoland area, they would love to welcome and host you. And lastly, until next time, use your crossroads to find your calling.